Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to dive in.
Okay, perfect. So someone sent in a video about turning ideas into businesses.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. Pretty interesting stuff.
Right. And this one really got me thinking, especially that part about how developing an idea is like refining gold.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
At first, it just seems like a cool visual,
Hmm.
but the more I think about it, the more I see how true it actually is.
It's a really powerful analogy, right?
Totally.
Because when you think about it, nobody just trips over a gold nugget and boom, instant fortune. There's a whole lot that has to happen before that raw gold becomes something valuable.
Exactly. You got to dig it up, refine it, shape it. It's a whole process.
And ideas are the same way. They don't magically turn into successful businesses overnight.
Right. It takes work.
It takes work, it takes refinement.
So speaking of process, the video laid out 4 steps to actually turning an idea into something real. First, identify a problem.
Right.
Then come up with the solution.
Okay, yeah.
Write it down.
Write it down, important.
And then, this is the interesting one, visualize it.
Visualization. That's where the magic starts to happen.
So what do you think about those 4 steps? Are they really the keys to making an idea happen?
Yeah, I think they're a great place to start, especially
Yeah.
if you're new to this whole idea generating thing. Identifying the problem, that's key because it gives your idea purpose.
Makes sense.
It's got to solve something, have a reason to exist.
So then the solution part is all about figuring out how your idea actually solves that problem.
Exactly. Like what value does it bring to the table? How does it make things better?
Okay, that makes sense. And I totally agree with writing it down. I have like a million notebooks full of ideas that never went anywhere until I actually sat down and wrote them out.
Putting pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, it forces you to get specific. It brings the idea out of your head and into the real world.
I'm with you there. But what about visualization?
Yeah.
I gotta admit, that's the one I struggle with the most.
I get it. It can feel a little, out there.
Yeah. Like, how do I actually do that? Just sit and stare at a wall and hope my idea pops up.
Not exactly. There are a lot of different techniques, but one I find really helpful is creating a vision board.
Oh, like a mood board?
Yeah, kinda.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more than just aesthetics. You're taking those written ideas and translating them into images, headlines, maybe even textures, things that represent your vision. It's about making it more tangible.
Interesting. So it's like you're creating a physical representation of your idea's future.
Precisely. It helps you see the bigger picture. Think about potential challenges.
Even start thinking about your target audience and how they'll interact with your product or service.
Exactly.
It's almost like making a movie poster for your business.
I love that analogy. You're totally getting it.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Good.
So we've identified the problem, found a solution, written it down, and visualized it. What's next?
Well, the video we're talking about, it goes on to talk about monetization.
Oh yeah, turning that idea into a real business.
Right. And this is where things can get a little tricky for some people.
Because it's not just about coming up with a cool idea, you got to figure out how to make money from it.
You've got to make it sustainable, right?
Yeah.
And make sure it can have a real impact.
So what are some key things we need to consider when we're thinking about monetization?
Well, first off, it's important to remember that monetization isn't just about getting rich. It's about ensuring your idea can actually exist in the real world, that it can grow and reach the people it's meant to help.
So it's not just about profit, it's about impact.
Exactly. And it's about sustainability. Can your idea generate enough revenue to support itself, to grow, to reach more people?
Right, because if you can't keep the lights on, you can't help anyone.
Exactly. And then there's the question of what kind of monetization model aligns with your goals and values. Are you thinking subscriptions, advertising, direct sales? There are a lot of different options out there.
This is making me think about those business model canvases they talk about in entrepreneurship classes. Those might be a good tool for listeners to check out at this stage.
Totally agree. They can be super helpful for mapping everything out.
Okay, so we've talked about the process of refining an idea and how to think about monetization.
Yeah.
But the video also made this really inspiring point about how some of the most successful companies out there, they started as simple ideas.
Absolutely. Think about Google, Apple, Spanx. They all started as someone's brainchild, a spark of inspiration that was nurtured and developed over time.
It's easy to look at those giants and think, well, my idea could never be that big.
Right. You get intimidated.
Yeah. But what I took away from that part of the video is that you can't underestimate the power of an idea. Any idea, really.
I love that because every groundbreaking innovation, every world-changing company, it all started somewhere.
Right. Someone had to have that initial spark.
And what's important to remember is that you don't need to have all the answers right away. You don't need a perfect business plan from day one.
It's more about taking that first step, starting that refining process.
Exactly. Be open to learning and adapting along the way. That's where the real growth happens.
Okay, so to wrap up our deep dive here, we've talked about how refining an idea is a process, just like refining gold. We've touched on some practical steps like visualization and considered different ways to think about monetization. What's the big takeaway you hope listeners walk away with today?
I hope this deep dive has empowered you to believe in the potential of your own ideas. Every single person listening right now, you have something unique to offer the world.
Everyone has a good idea in them somewhere.
Exactly. So I want you to ask yourself, what problem are you most passionate about solving? What change do you want to see in the world?
Because that passion, that's where truly great ideas come from.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome. Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive. So to everyone listening, remember, the journey from idea to reality, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
So pace yourself.
Exactly. Stay curious, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of your own imagination. Until next time, happy ideating.
Keep those ideas coming.